So, I have some news. I seem to have fallen into the Vortex hole, uh, a thing that I did not know was possible, and I assume it was just the combined power of world events and weather to make me dissociate. Uh, but here we are. This seems to be uh, Six Flags Magic Mountain. Although there are fewer like harried moms with double wide strollers, and there are more like young, cool, and attractive people. I don't. All right. So, see, I recognize this. This is a credit I have, actually. But I'm happy to go get it again. This man looks so happy. Let me actually get on this ride over here. Oh, they're so happy. All right. There's not a lot to do in this park other than this. Perhaps because this is one of those kinds of dreams where if you open the wrong door, it just leads you back to where you started. Or because it's one of those, that hat is awesome. It's just, perhaps I've gone back and, hello, rude. Oh, are they together? I guess they must be together. So I suspect that we have retreated in time to a time when the park was not as complete. So, like, I was thinking even before this happened about how the next step in the conversation I want to have of like, if theme parks are increasingly only going to be able to be made and sustained by the very richest theme park creators, and the theme parks that they create are only going to be able to be attended by the very richest guests, then where does that leave the rest of us, and where does it leave theme parks as a creative pursuit? And, well, I thought of the virtual stuff. I thought of not only No Limits for directly modeling coasters in a very realistic fashion, but also less realistic things, but that are still simulators like Planet Coaster. And it's, those aren't the people I was standing behind. I must have spaced out and, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna, okay, pardon me. Yes, okay, thank you. Yeah, just act confident, assume that, you know where you're going and you should be there, and that's yeah, okay, all right, great, here we are. um yeah, so I was thinking about the virtual aspect of this, and it's good. There's a lot of good work happening in the Planet Coaster community. There's recreations of parks, and there's also original parks, and there's some really, really creative use of standard parts. There's not a lot of people reimagining what theme parks can be about, but there are people using castle parts and toy overgrown block set parts and such to here we go. Ah, yeah, once upon a time this was a good roller coaster. I don't really have any memory of riding it except for the part where you go back through the loop. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Nice, gentle, slow hill dropping us towards it. Man, that's a whole school. It's kind of the normie school of thought for roller coaster design, is be real dramatic about it instead of just have actually dramatic forces happen to your body. That's kind of an interesting thing. But Yeah, so you do so much crawling through the rest of the ride after the loop. Why, God, why? Seems like we keep doing, why? I like that. Yeah, this part was so underwhelming to me just because you crawled through that part of the layout. Um, and then you do a little more. All right. It's like the only roller coaster in the park. It should have a much longer line. Um, but, I think while you can be extremely expressive with the same old parts, it's just so much work to make something new. You really have to start from like geometrical primitives. And so I don't really accept it as the main way to express new ideas about roller coasters. Because even as it stands, building stuff that looks good in, like, look at this building here. This was a phenomenal amount of work to do, honestly, and a phenomenal amount of learning in between a person and being able to do this. Learning that the game doesn't really force you to do. So that it's not necessarily tutorialized in the same ways. But it's so much work, and you're learning another craft. You're learning another highly technical piece of software, the interface of which was not mostly designed for serious work. So, like, this building here doesn't look that great, but it was still like so much time someone had to dump into making it. And it's not even really. I I don't think this is what there is over here. I don't. What's going on in Looney Balloons? What is Full Throttle? Full Throttle wasn't here until decades later. This is not. What? I feel weird. The. The fuck? Okay. Just gonna. It's cute. It seems clear that the whole is trying to tell me something. Specifically, that there is a lot of technical sophistication here, and that I should not try to master it and put all of that sophistication in between me and being able to express some ideas about theme parks, because there is too much of it. But God fucking damn it, I bought a gaming PC for this. I wanna make something that people can experience. Oh. Well, that's embarrassing. I just remembered that I have an art degree. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is, yeah, I had a bunch of hair on the back of my neck because I hadn't had a trim in a while. And when you have started going bald when you were 20 years old, the hair just kind of moves around. So there's a few of you for whom this video can no longer be about anything else. And if that's you, I'm sorry. I feel you. And also go fuck yourself. But this is a drawing of the left-hand side of the main street of the theme park in my imagination. And that building on the furthest left is like the closest to you as you come in. It's where the Emporium would be on actual Main Street USA at Disneyland. And I actually stole this color scheme from a Planet Coaster file that I did not download even. I just saw it in the thumbnails and I was like, that's a good set of colors for that kind of building. Also, in this drawing, I forgot the little clock tower that I think all of these buildings should have. And I also remembered that after I looked at the Planet Coaster one again. I don't remember which Planet Coaster park that was that had that. But good work, whoever did that. Yeah, and then the next one over is just kind of me drawing a generic somewhat older style construction sort of building. I imagine the two buildings on the left here are again, similar to the Emporium at Main Street USA at Disneyland, just actually one conjoined big store. Um, and then the third building here is strongly based on a cafe that is just south of the south side of UC Berkeley on Bancroft Avenue there. And it is also like very postmodern and almost brutalist uh, but right next to like old construction style buildings that have been there a long time because UC Berkeley's been there a long time. But that building is also a cafe. So this building is a cafe. I like that building a lot, actually. There's a surprising amount of like the really good stuff when it comes to postmodern architecture in Berkeley. But the last building on the rightmost building, I'm envisioning as a kind of just a glass and steel situation. And I'm envisioning that as like a sit down restaurant that faces the sort of plaza in the center of the park and the visual weenie at the center of the park. I didn't mean for those all to be palm trees. They're not palm trees. They're not palm trees at all. They're pine trees. They're pine trees. I didn't mean for it to look so very piney up there. I just meant for there to be foliage on the top of the building. Also, this isn't generally like a great drawing, or even the drawing that you would necessarily want to do first if you're creating a theme park in drawings. But this is just the thing that I had like the clearest idea of to begin, and I'm gonna proceed to draw it again in from a different viewpoint in this next clip here. I'm using a very, very light marker here. I'm doing this thing where I'm kind of just choosing the markers based on how dark they are, not what color they are at the beginning. And so that just results in kind of a lot of wild colors and kind of around the fringes of things, because I only get around to like choosing the colors I actually want things to be towards, I don't know, the mid to late part of the drawing. And that gives you the opportunity to do things like what I just did, which is attempt to unfuck the perspective on the Emporium over here on the left. There it is. That's a little bit better. Great. High fives all around. But this is a view down this supposed quote unquote Main Street. And so we see the building that is on the right side of the street, and I'm envisioning this as like an actual theater. Like you would have, it would be available for like regional arts events, and part of the and it's going to become clear before too much longer there that that upper space there is part of the kind of balcony like space on the upper floor of the theater building is a part of like a separate entrance that is actually outside the front gate. Like, so if they just wanted to straight up have arts events there that are not related to the park, and people who don't want to go to the park want to go to those events, you can do it. For the most part, yeah, I'm just kind of rounding out the realism of the picture that these buildings would maybe go to. Now, what is the thing that I've sketched on the right side there? It looks like it's kind of far off. Maybe looks like a giant aardvark that is vaguely Totoro-esque. Mostly it probably just looks like a mountain. But that is where the sort of main visual weenie of the center of the park is. I don't want you to see it right as you come in the front gate, and this view is more or less right inside the front gate, is how I'm imagining it. Yeah, it's not a mountain. It's going to be substantially more colorful than that, and I don't want you to be looking right at it when you first come in the park. I want it to play hard to get a little bit, and this was more apparent in the prior drawing, which I might drop in here, but you can kind of see on just my street level plan here, there's 6 or 7 steps down as you enter the park via this street, because I want there to be a little bit of gravity pulling you towards the center. But I don't want it to be a pain in the ass to leave the park, so it can't be a lot. I am not like wild about these drawings, but they do work as a way to communicate the ideas. Concept art doesn't have to be that great as art, because you're looking for concepts. And, you know, do I look forward to maybe being in the habit of doing this enough that I can make things that are better looking than this, especially on the right, oh my God? Yeah, I look forward to that, but that's just a natural process of spending time doing it. And I haven't spent a lot of time drawing lately, but I did do it as an undergrad degree. Um, I didn't go to like an art school where I would have learned a lot of rigorous and useful, Illustrator trick stuff. I went to a school in upstate New York where they kind of took the fine art world seriously, maybe more seriously than I would recommend doing. But also, I got a lot out of that. And I was thinking I was going to go into graphic design, but then the web happened, and the rest is history. But I still do, in fact, know how to draw, and it's questions about uh, tools and talent and time that I was just thrown right up against as I was having my little dalliance with Planet Coaster. That's a really appealing craft, and it's a really appealing community that I wanted to maybe enter into. Um, I don't have a. This is just the section of the park that I have the clearest and most specific visual ideas about, so I've drawn it first. Uh, I don't, in fact, know the full layout of the park yet, so I didn't go to work on a map. That's coming soon. But before then, I think I'm going to try to get a lot more visual clarity about our central inner weenie, for which I am actually going to return to digital media. Um, but that will also be a story about tools and talent and time. And it will be barely related to theme parks, but it will also be personal and heartbreaking. So I'll see you then.